Hi everyone, this is Tanya, the Lady Strange. This is day 15 of 31 Days of Strange. Now, I just decided to make today's video, should I say, a vlog video. I haven't done one in a while, so I decided for those of you that do follow me, that I know you're interested or follow me or may be interested. If you're not, that's fine too. You can tune out on that, whatever the case is. So this is just one of my ramblings, and that which is Tanya's life, the Lady Strange's life. Often, just like anyone else's, full of challenges and adversities, but also learning, growth, and experience in relationships, and making the best we can do to move through day-to-day circumstances. So, with that being said, sit back and I enjoy a cup of coffee or tea like I am, or if you're watching this later, an adult beverage, or whatever suits your boat. This is just one of my favorite cups. This was gifted from my cousin. It was from Jolie Tea, which is located in Salem, Massachusetts. One of my favorite places of to visit. But yes, they have filmed videos from there this year, little clips and such. But yes, I've been going there for over 20 years, almost every year. There's been probably a year or two or so where I haven't had the ability or the blessing or pleasure to go to my favorite place, which is Salem. But then there's been some years where I've got to go twice. So, spoiled and divine, and just one of my favorite vacation spots for my husband and myself. Not just for the witchcraft aesthetic or history, but the history and the beauty of the buildings, and that it's a standing stone of many things, not just of the witchcraft trials, but that is remembrance and should be remembered, but also of things like the colonial times, the times of when America was established, the homes that stood the test of time and have been restored, and all the history and the energy of those and our ancestors and people that have lived there and created that. And of course, my favorite, the ocean. Yes, I find such beauty and connection with the ocean, especially the Salem Willows, but I do love Pickering Wharf. So, yes. And, of course, originally, Jolie's Tea, which is an amazing place. So if you ever go to Salem, it is a must-have on the itinerary, to be honest. But it used to be not across from where we stay, typically 90% of the time. Now, at the Hawthorne Hotel, used to be there, right directly across the street, which I loved. It was very convenient. And now it's down on Derby Street. I didn't get to go this year, but yeah. So this is my Jolie Tea mug. And of course, how can you not love black and orange for the month of October? All appropriate for the time in the season. So, yeah. So there's some of that. Now, just to give about my blog. So basically, and this includes currently and last month, September. Just little bits in here and there, why the heck not? So, on a Monday last month, I got to go to, and I didn't post much on this, but I got to go to a first concert, I think this year. Usually we used to go to multiple concerts a year, but because of COVID, life, expenses, etc., schedules, yeah, I haven't had that pleasure as much or opportunity, but I'm glad I got to go to this one because it was 4 bands, so it was much larger, so you got more of an experience with it. And so, talking about that, it was Fuel, which is one of my favorite bands, or one of my most favorite bands, not to the top, but one of my bands from the 90s, and definitely reminds me of my high school days. I listened to that a lot. Love the sound. Hey Man, Nice Shot, and Trip Like I Do. Trip Like I Do is probably a bit more favorite on my list than that. I believe it's called Take My Picture. There's many others. Their set was phenomenal at the concert. They sounded great live, and much like they do in the studio. Gotta love a band that sounds like that, right? Second band was Ministry. I like Ministry. I mean, they're not huge fan, but I like them, and I enjoy them, like New World Order and Jesus is My Hot Rod, I believe it's called, amongst others. So, and just they're fun, and their stage presence, that was just fucking fun. My husband's doesn't know much about ministry, but he was amused by and found it entertaining, the stage show. And then, of course, the third band was Alice Cooper in that concert. And it would be the fifth time I saw Alice Cooper. Big Alice Cooper fan. Again, I bridge all sorts of eras of rock and metal, and of course other things like new age music, new wave music, etc., and especially alternative also. But that's the fifth time seeing Alice Cooper. So Alice Cooper is one of my favorite bands. I love the fact of marrying the fun, dark, theatrical aspect, and his concerts never disappoint with the dark, theatrical aspect or the music quality or such. Though my only disappointment with that this time was the bassist, which I had the pleasure of meeting years ago. I met twice after shows, just randomly after shows. It kind of came out to meet everybody where we were, so that was cool. I don't know what their bass tech did, but it was so overpowering you could barely hear Alice's voice or the rest of the great guitarists that he has. His band has always really phenomenal guitarists, honestly. So, but the stage show, from what I could tell, was, and I'll explain why I didn't get to see all that, but again, fifth time, so not a major disappointment in the long run, since my previous shows were amazing. And again, no discredit to him or to the band. And then last one was one of the main reasons I really wanted to go, because I've never seen and always wanted to, was Rob Zombie. I'm a huge White Zombie fan. Of course, alas, I will believe there will never be White Zombie in the forms again, but I guess never say never, right? But there is the White Zombie would be the closest, because obviously he was the lead of White Zombie and the creator of that band. And of course he played White Zombie songs, like my favorite, an extended version of Thunder Kiss 65, for example, More Human Than Human, of course. And then he played a lot of his favorite from his that are favorite in my catalog. I love Demon Speeding, and he played that, and he played Devilman, which was fun, and he also ended it with Dragula, which I love, despite the fact I don't find offense in it, because again, it's just theatrical and entertainment. Can't take everything so seriously or offensive. That's part of the problem with this world, but that's just my take. But with Dragula, with like Burns of the Witches. But that did not disappoint. If anything, that was the highlight of the concert. Having such theatrical, great bands and legends in my book was just quite an experience. So that was in my month of September. So I'm glad I got that experience. I'm glad I got to see all four. I definitely will make it 100% goal to see Rob Zombie again. Oh, for certain. I will do my best in my power and ability, in my magic. And on the Monday. But, yes. Of course, the stage show and the pyrotechnics and the theatrics and the different things he had on there and the music itself. It was just all an experience. So I thought I would mention that. The only problem I mentioned, other than some of the things with Alice Cooper's things on that, again, I don't hold that against it. So everybody has a bad day. Every band and experience has a bad day. So, yeah, nothing in the long run of things. But I didn't thoroughly get to enjoy the Alice, the Ministry for that matter, or Rob Zombie. Rob Zombie was a bit better, and Filter was fine, and then Rob Zombie. Reason why, and I'm not going to go into detail of what happened, but if you watch any of my previous videos, I am a type 1 diabetic. I have hearing aids. I'm almost deaf without my hearing aids, and I have other health problems and chronic illness. So yes, I make the best I can do with what I have and being resourceful. That's all one can do in this life. But often being a type 1 diabetic for over almost, well, to my knowledge, 23, 24 years. I was diagnosed in a couple years before my mid-20s, but I think I knew I had it longer. Let's put it that way. Runs in my family's diabetes, and it's terrible fucking disease. So if you have it, you can relate, or any other chronic illness, and I hear you, and I feel you on that. But, yeah. So that basically, I had an experience with that was not quite expected. I think I do know certain reasons that I contributed by my own accountability, because I hold myself accountable and face my truth. That's the best we can do to integrate and alchemize and to survive in this life, to be the best version of ourselves. So I kind of, in many ways, realized the small parts or different parts I played in it, but a lot of it, let's just say, was unpredictable and very unexpected, and not something I really ever fully, to this extent, experienced in all my years of being a diabetic. So it definitely was just something that caused me to have to get up from my seat several times. That's all I'm going to say. Again, I'm okay. Obviously, I'm still standing here well over a month later, like 5 weeks later, so obviously I'm okay. I look okay. I'm okay. But that was definitely a horrible and sobering experience. Luckily, my husband is very accommodating and supportive, and took good care of me. But it caused me just to be away from my seats and other experiences in that, and took away some of my experience. Did it take it all away? No. Am I blessed that I had the experience and that things still turned out good? Of course. But I figured I would mention that, as that's part of the equation. My job, I'm already going into almost 4.5 months of it already. Yeah, since I started beginning of June. If any of you watched that in my videos throughout from the end of last year, beginning of this year up to the middle, you'll know the struggles I had with getting a job interviews, applications, tests. What a fucking trial. This world is difficult if you are unemployed, or even if you are employed or looking for a new job, or forced to look for a new job, or trying to leave experiences that may not be the best with you, but you'll have to stick with them because that's what you have, and it's all about survival in many ways. So if you've gone through those experiences or know anybody that has, you can certainly understand and feel me on that one, and I feel you too, and recognize that. And we each experience things differently, so that's another thing. So, but I'm grateful to have a job. As time's going by, I guess, I'm becoming more assimilated and used to it. I've mentioned in my previous videos, let's just put it this way, I work in customer service for a call center. I have for many years. That's the last job I left last year that I kind of just mentioned into the equation. This one's different. Same type of job, same type of industry, but it has different things and aspects to it. It's just, let's say, for a much smaller company and customer base, which in its ways definitely has a lot of pluses, especially with the corporate world, the customer world, and service world. So yes, it definitely has its adversarial energies and challenges, and a lot of things I find, yeah, let's just put it that way, yeah, not the greatest, things that could be done a lot better or more structured, but you deal with what you have, like I said. I'm grateful to have a job because I've worked fucking hard to get this job, meaning with other tests and that. For the most part, the customers are better, not from like the world I came from, that I worked at for 6 years, which was the same company I worked for 15 plus years before that, but it was, which was extremely, that customer base in that situation was just toxic and basically almost killed me a second time. Let's put it that way. It put me in the hospital stress and certain things from that many years ago now, 6 years ago. So, again, still standing, but it contributed a lot to that. So, again, don't discredit how much stress can affect one's daily life or one's job can. But on a positive note, there has been a lot of benefits of that. This company seems to value me and my experience and what I contribute a lot better. So that's a huge plus, too. Plus, I get to work from home 2 days a week. Plus, on my overtime day, I get to work from home. So, a plus. Especially since I have severe driving anxiety. So, yeah. Especially night driving. My eyesight's not the greatest, of course. Add it to the list. But, yeah. So, so the job's been getting better, but I'm more simulated. I have more training for the last part of things to learn, probably, I don't know. I hope at least, not some further down the road, maybe next month if I'm lucky, and not this month, because I'm still getting used to a lot of stuff here. It's just a constant changing environment and challenge, and so much more than certain other things I'm used to dealing with. But otherwise, I'm progressing with it. So that's an update on my job, because, of course, the mundane. Let's see. Magically, I still work with Hecate's still my patroness. She will always be my patroness. I work with Hades. He comes and goes at different points and different levels and experiences as needed. He's very respectful of me, very authoritative when he shows up, and kind of disciplinary, and very straight to the point like Justice, but he's also very respectful. He doesn't constantly have to be in my life. We respect each other, and he steps forward, or I work with him as need be, which is how because I am on the left-hand path, so it's ultimately up to me, and I am my own being, and I'm up to my own path accountability. But again, I do work with them, walk with them, and respect them, and in my own way worship them. I worship myself in a healthy way, in a magical way. That's what I'm talking about. But also on a magical, a spiritual, and occult level. I love the occult, obviously, in witchcraft. That is my anchor in this life, if you watched even any of my previous videos for a hot minute. So he comes and goes on that, and I have a great experience with him. The goddess being Hel from the Nordic pantheon, I'm still learning more and embracing it. She's showing up in different ways in my life. I have mentioned that in some of my previous videos, on and off, but especially several, probably last month. I had a video where I mentioned her in one of my paranormal experience videos and situations about that and how that played out a little bit. And then, of course, I work with Venus on sort of a level. She kind of comes and goes like Hades, but I know she's been there a lot longer and more in the background, but not insubstantial in any way. But she's just not oppressive either. She's very healing, and very healing in relationships with others and myself, and shows a lot of love, devotion, and divine feminine, and helps to experience your truth in a healthy way, and your relationship with others in a healthy way, and perspective. And of course with magic, and I'm seeing stuff because of a lot of mirror magic. So yes, I do work with Lucifer to an extent. I realize he's been there for quite a while. He's coming to me. He's quite an interesting character. Well, being, entity, divine, of the dark divine, as I call it for myself, again, my gnosis. But he is very intellectual, wisdom, has a great sense of humor, has a great sense of compassion and understanding, healing and empowerment. And yes, a bit darkness, but it's fun. And it's great, and it's very liberating, and to help find your truth, and the wisdom and guidance have helped me find my liberation and truth. That's not only from like religious expectations. I haven't had any severe religious traumas in this life. I have 100% feeling I have in previous lives, which carried over into this one, into my soul's journey. But yeah. So basically that. But I did go to church. If you watch any of my previous videos, I was, for many aspects throughout my childhood, a member of the Methodist Church, and participated in various events on a consistent level. And now, let's just say I have a family member that got back into the Christian religion and is very, let's put it, oppressive in it, and not taking it to a healthy place or experiencing it and being forceful through this life. But to each their own, I guess, right? I just deal with it the best I can for myself, because ultimately that's my experience in my life that I'm responsible for, and how I react and respond. So, yes, Lilith I work with a little bit. She's on the edges. Again, these are more ones I'm getting more as I slowly develop and learn about them from different resources in my own personal experience and gnosis of how I approach things. Magically, now for actual magic spells and workings, I don't do as many of those. Well, like on a regular, consistent level, or haven't. There's just really not a need. A lot of my focus has been, honestly, with my job and on the mundane, but every day is my practice is important, meaning my spiritual and witchcraft and occult practice is important, anchoring me in my day-to-day life and experience. That is my foundation, honestly, and what helps me to get through, but helps me to heal, grow, and empower, and obtain wisdom and strength. Power is the power to be yourself, to speak your voice, your truth, and to face often, which the world is, which is very harsh, critical, and judgmental, but it helps us to heal from that and our traumas, no matter how big or small that they have, no matter what those may look like for each of us. So being a witch and that also to me, and studying more about the dark arts or the black magic or path of that is just daily. All those little things we each do for each other, whether it be in our magical routine like I do in the morning with my energetic practice and releasing and stuff to prepare for my days or situations which I may know is ahead, or all the things like the simple aspects of very simple. I'm not huge at meditating, but the little aspects that I do on that, and creating your future, planning out your day, but not in an overly controlling way, but in having a perspective, and a healthy perspective, and showing up with courage and strength and will and wisdom, and being accountable for yourself in your experience, or the best way you can. Even if you have anxiety like myself, and working through that, and possible I have anger management issues and such, doing the best that you can. And by doing so and alchemizing your own energy and your own experiencing and following your own path and your truth, long as it's as healthy as it can be, and not worrying about what the rest of the fucking world thinks about you, well, yeah, that's healthy and it's very empowering. So the Black Lent Challenge so far, that ties into all of this with the magical perspective. You can go back several into February and March and look at my videos on the Black Lent Challenge. I chose Pride for this, and I'm currently still am, and will be working at this to the next one, and for next year to have another one that is going to be Trish from Beanbag Hagwag started that, and Jasmine Ambrosia from her channel. And I found about that this was my first year participating, so I found this very integral and fruitful in my experience and my growth as a woman and a witch, meaning marrying the magic and the mundane. As you can see, I show myself now. I'm a lot more comfortable. I'm so afraid of judgment. I have elements of imposter syndrome, which are improving. Speaking my truth, my boundaries, and just showing up for myself. But you know what? I've embraced a lot of my courage, my voice, and showing up for myself, and recognizing my self-worth and my capabilities and what I have to offer and bring to the table, whether it be in the day-to-day mundane life, such as my job or my home or my relationships, or with my magical practice. I'm not less than. So Pride's been teaching me that. Lucifer's been teaching me that. To be healthier with that, to embrace that. And again, just like this is, and showing myself in the channel, this is me. This is my experience in my life. I'm the one that has to live it and walk it. But again, I value those in my life too, and the experience. We all learn from each other, whether it be on purpose or accidentally or by osmosis. So, and I'm blessed to have such a great spiritual support system, and the spirits and my guides and support system. God knows my familiars and my spirit guides and ancestors that do work with me or speak to me across the veil have a fucking hard job. I'm a fucking handful. Let's just put it that way. You only see different aspects of myself. A lot more recently, you've been seeing different facets of myself as I embrace more of my pride and my own courage and voice. But again, this channel is basically for myself and those that connect with me or may have an interest in that, just as I do with theirs. And also being October, every day I connect with spirits and I connect with the dead. That's just always been my thing since birth. I recognize The ability, I speak with them telepathically. I actually hear them with like clairaudience. I have many aspects of clairvoyance. I journey and travel a lot. Even, let's just put it this way, my higher self or daemon already guides me quite a lot more than it has. It always has, but I mean loudly. A lot of stuff happens, maybe without me consciously doing it, but subconsciously and magically I'm doing it purposely, I guess. Subconsciously, but purposely. Let's put it that way. Maybe unintentionally, but intentionally. Hard to explain that. But by working with pride and by empowering myself and recognizing and not hiding behind being scared of not being accepted or being darker or showing my darker path or what I'm learning and working with maybe some of the dark demonic divine, the dark divine, and marrying it with my truth and facing my shadow and my desires and what's right for me, it's helped me a lot. It's also helped my relationships a lot to recognize what is truthful and healthy and what is not. And to advocate for myself. Not to just sit back and try not to make waves. Obviously, I'm not going to go back and be a fucking destructive force unless I have to destruct certain things maybe I built or that no longer serve me, or maybe stand up for things that are right. But, yeah. So that's where I stand at this point. Yeah, that's just a bit of ramblings on this. So if you stuck with me this far, thank you. And so with that, I'm going to keep this under 30 minutes. This is a longer one on this for day 15, but it was about time for this update, and again, why the hell not? So I hope this all finds you well, and again, if you are new here, welcome, and thanks for watching. If you're passing through, thanks for watching, and if you're a returning subscriber or follower, or one of my friends, whether it be in my day-to-day life that watches this, or even virtually, you're appreciated in subscribing on that. And again, please like and comment, subscribe. I hope this all finds you well and continue to stay strange.